What is mindful eating? Have you ever heard of mindfulness before? Some of you probably will have. It is something which is used everywhere at the minute by various different practitioners, various different professions, and it does seem to be the new religion almost. And there are lots of different aspects to mindfulness. Now I just wanted to share with you today a technique that you can use to help manage your cravings and also to help control your snacking patterns, and that's all connected with mindful eating. Now before I do that, obviously I just want to explain a bit more about what mindfulness actually is for those of us that don't know. And a question I'm going to start off with is, have you ever had the experience of perhaps driving somewhere, getting there and thinking, I barely remember the journey. I barely remember getting here. How did I get here? Or maybe have you ever looked down at wrappers of food, empty packets of biscuits and thought, I barely remember eating that? Because so much of the time we're on autopilot, we rarely slow down enough to fully experience each moment as it comes, the journey to work, the dishes we're washing, the smells and the visuals of nature on our dog walk, the taste and texture of the foods that we're eating. Now, mindfulness is all about bringing your awareness to the present on a moment-to-moment basis. And we can start introducing mindfulness practice into some of our everyday tasks. So things that we do every day: breathe, mindfully washing up, mindfully going for a walk and noticing the sights and smells and sounds on your journey. Even just stopping in the room that you're in right now and noticing absolutely everything that's going on. What can you smell? What can you see? What can you hear? The benefits of mindfulness are huge, and definitely for people who spend a lot of time dwelling on negative, sad thoughts or perhaps worrying about the future. Mindfulness can be really helpful because it allows us to focus our attention on what's happening in the present moment rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Now, mindful eating, on the other hand, is all about being aware of the foods that we're eating without any judgments or criticisms. It's about being in tune with what our body's telling us about how hungry we are, how full we are. It's also about enjoying the taste sensations of having those foods, acknowledging the smells and the textures of those foods in our bodies. And mindful eating can also go so far back as acknowledging the journey of that food, how it became to be on your plate, where it came from, the soil and the ground from which it was grown. And fundamentally, mindful eating causes us to slow down and give our full attention to food, enjoying it and feeling satisfied. So I'm going to do a little exercise with you now. It's a practice that we use to try and introduce mindfulness into our lives. So if you want to do this with me, go and get yourself something small to eat. A snack, a piece of fruit, some dried fruit. Maybe you've got some raisins in the cupboard that you could go and grab. Maybe you've got some nuts. Walnuts are quite good because they've got quite a lot of things you can explore with the texture. I'm actually going to do this exercise with some chocolate because those of you that know me know that it's probably something I should eat less of. But whatever you've got in your kitchen, go and grab yourself so you can practice this exercise with me. I would also say make sure that you are comfortable, make sure you've turned off any distractions, make sure your feet are well grounded on the floor, and you may even want to close your eyes if you wish, just making sure you're in a nice comfortable position and there's no distractions. So we're going to start in a second. Okay, so hopefully you've all got something that you can do this alongside me. Now I have just opened the wrapper on my Lindor chocolate, but even that, just opening the wrapper, rustling the wrapper, we can be mindful about the whole process of packaging as well, but as long as you've got something in your hand right now. So what I would like you to do is focus on the object and imagine you've never seen anything like it before. Just hold the object in the palm of your hand or between your finger and thumb. Pay attention to seeing it, looking at it carefully as if you've never seen such a thing before. Perhaps turning it over between your fingers, exploring its texture between your fingers. Examine the highlights, where the light shines. Are there any darker hollows and folds? Just let your eyes explore every part of it as if you've never seen such a thing before. And if whilst you're doing this, any thoughts come to mind about what a strange thing this is, or I don't like this, I don't see the point, then just note them as thoughts and bring your awareness back to the object. And now smelling the object, taking it and holding it beneath your nose, and with each in-breath, just carefully noticing the smell of it. Take another look at it. And now slowly take the object to your mouth, perhaps noticing how your hand and arm know exactly where to put it. Perhaps noticing your mouth is starting to water. And now gently place the object in your mouth, noticing how it is received without biting it, just exploring the sensations of having it in your mouth. When you're ready, very consciously take a bite into it and notice the taste that it releases. Slowly chewing it, noticing any saliva in the mouth, perhaps the change in consistency of the object. And when you feel ready, perhaps this is too soon, but when you feel ready to swallow, see if you can first detect the intention to swallow, so that even this is experienced consciously before you actually swallow it. And finally, see if you can follow the sensations of swallowing it, sensing it moving down your esophagus and into your stomach. I just want you to take a minute and just reflect on what you've just done. And there's a few questions that you can ask yourself. So how was this experience? Was this experience different to how you usually eat? Or was it the same? Do you normally eat in this way? Did anything surprise you about this experience? Were you expecting it to be as it was? Perhaps did you notice anything different about the sights and smells and textures and touch of the food that you chose? Maybe you've never quite looked at that food in the same way before. And finally, I think the most important thing to reflect on and to take away from this experience is, what are you going to take from it, from this experience, and apply to your eating patterns in the future? Now, I hope you enjoyed this exercise. I, of course, am going to mindfully eat my chocolate off camera. I was about to do it on camera, but then I thought, well, I'm not really going to be able to talk with a mouthful of chocolate, but I will be sure to eat it mindfully once the camera goes off. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Give it a go. See if mindful eating helps you to control your snacking patterns, helps you to get the most satisfaction out of your snacks. It may even have a really positive effect on those people who perhaps come to eat or eat perhaps portion sizes are a bit of an issue as well. So give it a go and let me know how you get on.